What's up guys, welcome back to another video. I know I've been gone for a really long time, and for that I am very sorry. I'll explain a little bit more about where I've been and why I haven't been uploading or making videos for you guys at the end of this video. For now, let's just jump right in and look at 5 things that you can do to make your color grading look less amateur. And I do want to quickly preface this by saying I am not a color grading professional. These are just some of the things that I see that immediately jump out to me as being kind of more amateurish. So let's fix those things. The first thing that jumps out to me is people going way too overboard with their color grade. Unless you're going for something like a Wes Anderson, really super stylized type effect, dial it back. Remember that less is more, and nothing makes your footage look amateur faster than piling on a LUT at 100%. Number 2 is another technical thing, and that's people not desaturating the shadows and the blacks of their image. If you watch a Hollywood blockbuster or some other high-end production, you'll notice that the blacks in the image, even if the color of the overall film is tinted blue or yellow or green, the blacks are black. The shadows and the darkest parts of the image are completely desaturated, so you don't get that horrible murky color tint in the shadows. When I'm grading client projects, the last thing I like to do is grab another instance of, in my case, Lumetri Color. It may be different depending on what editing software you're using. And then using the Luma versus saturation curve in that software, I just tank the shadows and the blacks all the way down to make sure that I don't have any color cast in the darkest parts of my image. It's just a nice way to ensure that it's not all murky and everything kind of looks crisp and clean. Number 3 is a super simple one, but you'd be amazed at the amount of times I see people not doing this. And that is not color correcting your footage before you apply a color grade. Before you apply a grade to your final footage, you should at the very least be adjusting your white balance and making sure that's correct. Realistically, you should be checking white balance, exposure values, making sure your highlights aren't clipping, all of those kind of things. The bottom line is, if you do a good job with your correction, you'll have a much easier time making your grade both look good and match across shots. Number 4 is not learning or using the tools that you have at your disposal. These days, most non-linear editors, be it Premiere Pro, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, any of them, they pretty much all have excellent color tools. And learning to use those tools is going to be an absolute game changer for you when it comes to color correcting and color grading. For example, learning to use the scopes in whatever software it is that you're using will take all of the guesswork out of nailing your skin tones and your exposure values. Personally, the scopes that I use the most are the waveform, the RGB waveform, and the vector scope. If you want any more information on any of those, or you want to know how any of the scopes work, I'm happy to make a video on that. Just leave a comment down below and let me know that you'd like to learn that sort of thing, and I can certainly cover that for you in a future video. Further to that point and my previous point, using the basic color tools will allow you to correct your exposure and your white balance before you apply any grades. And if you learn the more advanced tools, you can even make targeted adjustments using the HSL secondaries, meaning that you can make sure you don't end up with green skin or a pink sky or anything equally as weird. Number 5 is not learning basic color theory. And there's 2 sides to this. The technical side and the non-technical side. I would consider the technical side to be things like learning about color harmony rules, like monochromatic, complementary colors, triads, and the other one that begins with A that I can't say, and defining things like hue, saturation, and luma. In contrast to that, I would consider the non-technical things to be learning about what kind of moods and emotions different colors evoke, and how you can use that to your advantage in your color grades to make people feel a certain way when they watch your work. So that's 5 things that you can either start using right away, or that you can go away and consider when you're working on your next projects, that hopefully just make your color grading that next level up and make them look less amateur. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I do want to explain a little bit about where I've been and why I haven't been uploading, but if you don't want to stick around for that, that is absolutely fine. If you did like the tutorial and you just came for those 5 points, be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, do all the things, click all the buttons, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. If, however, you are interested in where I've been and why I haven't been uploading, this room is probably a solid place to start explaining. You might be able to tell that I am not in my old space, and this isn't my new house, we haven't moved yet, and that's pretty much the crux of where I've been and why I haven't been uploading. I'm currently living at my girlfriend's house before we move into the new house. It's still about a month away, so hopefully in the new year I should be getting back to regular uploading. We'll have a lot more space than we do now. We're kind of living very much on top of each other, and I can only really record when there's nobody home, so that's kind of where I've been. But 2020, beginning of January, we move into the new house. I've got a whole office renovation series planned. I want to talk about how to make some soundproofing and things like that. I'm amped to work on so many things in 2020 when I have the right headspace and the right workspace. So with that said, thanks so much for everything over the last year. It's been crazy, and if I don't see you before, have a fantastic holiday, and I will catch you in the next decade. That's a weird thing to say. Yep. Next decade. See you in 2020, guys.